Joe Cortez here, Las Vegas, sports talk show, and my good friend T.C. Martin.
What's up, Joltin' Joe?
Well, we're here at the 1-2 punch again today, Sunday here, the boxing capital, the sports capital of the world. I mean, everything is happening in Las Vegas these days, T.C. I mean, just about everything. Last night you had boxing in California. You had Navarrete, who defeated Devaka, three-round knockout. And it was really unknown fighters, but they're very popular in Mexico. And of course, there's a lot of talk about Adrian Broner coming back. He wants to fight Canelo Alvarez.
Please stop that, or I don't want to hear that.
That's what I say. He wants to fight Triple G, Gennady Golovkin. The guy lost about 4 of his last 5 fights.
You could beat Adrian Broner. Come on.
I think my shadow can.
You got that right. Jeez.
But let me tell you, the guy is supposed to keep coming back, and he's trying to retire, you know, with a fight that's going to draw some money. But who wants to pay for a fight? They know that he's going to get his butt whipped again. No. I told him years ago, I said, Adrian, keep yourself grounded, keep yourself focused. You can go a long way. You're young. He said, I'm only doing this to hype up the fight game. But people got to dislike him to the point where he's got himself in trouble, and he's been doing some, you know, things that he should be doing as an athlete. And I don't know. Anyway, but also on a sad note, something happened. One of our Hall of Famers, not a Hall of Famers, but he's
one of the greatest college football players.
Cedric Benson.
Cedric Benson passed away late last night. He was in a motorcycle accident. He was only 36 years old. People probably remember him if you're a football fan. He was one of the greatest running backs in college football history from the University of Texas. He was the first-round draft pick in 2004 with the Chicago Bears. Was just a phenomenal running back, phenomenal athlete, and he was in a motorcycle accident last night in Texas, and he was suddenly killed. I got news of that this morning. He played with the Bears with a very good friend of mine. Played with the Bears as well too. So I know it's kind of a very sad day when we hear news like this for a guy who loses his life at only 36 years old.
36 years old.
And, you know, on a motorcycle. But Cedric Benson, very sad news in the sporting world today. Again, happened late last night in Texas. And Joe, when I heard this story, you know, knowing I was going to come and see you today, you know what memory came to me? It came to Diego Corrales, because he died the same way. And Diego wasn't quite that old, but he was still very, very young. And on a motorcycle accident here in Las Vegas.
Yeah, that was 12 years ago to be exact, and it's a shame because he was one of my favorite young men. Out of boxing, outside of the ring, and he used to do a lot in the community. He would get out there, be at the local gym with the kids, at the fundraisers and whatnot. He was always out there. I mean, he treated these kids like they were his own little brothers, you know, his own children. I mean, he was really a great person, a great champion, and he brought somebody. It was such a sad night about it. You know, we had some of the other day where we had a couple of fighters a couple of weeks back that passed away in the ring from injuries, and that happens sometimes in this sport. It's a tough sport, and sometimes you hate to see this, you know, but when you have a motorcycle accident, you hit these great athletes out there, you know. Somebody was telling me the other, some fighter that was around the other day was telling me, oh, he likes motorcycles. I was telling me, you know what, stay away from that. You're not protected, you know, you're better off doing something else. Get a race car or something. But motorcycles, you know, one little spin or little hit by a car or something, you're going to go flying. There's no protection other than your helmet if you have it on.
Yeah, we've seen this with a lot of other athletes too in different sports where if they didn't die from this, got severely injured, or their careers got cut off. It's happened in the NBA, it's happened in Major League Baseball, and it's a shame. The sad news about Cedric Benson, you know, today. You mentioned, you know, again, I talk about Diego Corrales. I mean, you know, he was a guy, you know, from my hometown in Sacramento as well too, and then had, you know, moved here to Las Vegas, and like you said, 12 years ago. Think about that. It's been that long, and
it seemed like it was the other day.
Right. And again, you know, we were just talking about his great fight last week. We were talking about against Castillo.
Right.
You know,
he was an outstanding fight. I remember that fight with Castillo was an amazing fight. I remember he was losing. Corrales was losing, and he got knocked down in the 10th round. And he went down the second time. He took out his mouthpiece, then he spit it out, and the referee 20 weeks took a point, spitting his mouthpiece out intentionally, and then he recuperated a little bit. He had about 15 seconds in between. Those 15 seconds meant a lot to him, He came back and fought Castillo against the ropes, hit with a series of combinations of blows, and Tony Weeks rightfully jumped in and stopped it, and it was one of the greatest endings in boxing history. But you also, got to think about these fights. Sometimes the referee let these fights go a little too long, and that's not good for boxing.
Speaking of last night, I was watching the fight that you talked about. It was in California last night. Navarrete, and man, and he was just unloading. He had the first knockdown with a couple of lead uppercuts. It was amazing, and he was just relentless and power. And his opponent just stood there and took it and took it and took it. And I was watching the referee like, okay, when is he going to step in? And I think he stepped in at the right time. But really, it was really a no contest. Yeah. But he is just something special.
Yeah, well, and he got only 112 pounders.
Yeah.
And they look so strong. I mean, you see him in person, it look like little tiny little fighters, but yet they have such devastating power.
Powerful,
yeah. Yeah. Now you have the other fighters that are talking about talking about fighting. Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez is still middleweight champion of the world, and this guy is barely trying to make 147 pounds. He's having trouble. He'd have trouble. He should stick at 135, 140. He's talking about fighting Lomachenko at 130, or one got a catch weight 135. He's talking about Canelo Alvarez and Triple G fighting him at 154. What come on, what are you crazy? What is he talking about?
Well, I think we just need to just stop talking about Adrian Broner. And you and I have talked about him for years. Okay, this guy had all kinds of talent when he was younger.
Right.
But this is a guy that continued to ignore his training regiment. He always got himself into trouble, and this is a guy that just talks too much, and he's worn out his welcome. Okay, we saw Sean Porter take care of him very easily. We saw Manny Pacquiao take care of him very easily. Every time this guy gets in the ring nowadays, we know that he's going to be non-competitive. And when I saw him after his last fight, we had a fight at the Cosmopolitan. I know that you were there, and he was sitting a couple rows in front of me. And Floyd Mayweather, it was Mayweather Promotions, and it was on Showtime a few months back, and he just stood up in his seat behind Floyd Mayweather. We had the barrier right there, and Floyd was inside the barrier, and Broner just had seats there at the first row, and he stood up and was berating Floyd Mayweather, just talking and talking and talking. He's like, "Are you kidding me? You just lost your fight. Nobody wants to hear from it." But this is what this guy is, Joe. He just wants to be in the spotlight. He can't be in the spotlight in the ring anymore because he's not very good. He's past his prime. He's done, and now he just continues to talk and talk and talk. And I think the boxing fans are sick of it. I'm sick of it. I don't even want to talk about this guy because he does not deserve another shot.
Man, when he fought Pacquiao about half a year ago, he got beat by Pacquiao so bad.
Yes.
During the interview, he was talking about how he got robbed, how he beat Pacquiao that night. I said, what is he talking about?
That's Broner, though, right? That's what he does.
I mean, come on. You lose, you get your butt whipped all over that ring, and you say, I won? Anyway.
I mean, for this guy to continue, and he wants to make himself relevant. I get that. Every fighter, because what's his next move? What is going to be his future after boxing?
Right.
I mean, who knows where this guy's going to end up? But he's not relevant anymore. He's not that talented. Like you said, talking about Canelo Alvarez, I mean, that's insane. And the boxing public would not go for that fight.
Okay, talking about fights, UFC last night.
Yeah.
You had some event out in California, and I know this guy Conor McGregor. I mean, I saw him on the news a couple of days ago. What was he doing? What was he doing at the bar? He got him say was having these guys.
Yeah, he cold-cocked a guy who was sitting at the bar and got himself in some more trouble. We'll see, what happens here. And people remember the Conor McGregor story with the bus accident at the Barclays Center and all that stuff. But anyway, here's another guy that and some people may disagree with me on this, but I'm not sure I want to see Conor McGregor fight anymore. I think this is another guy that's coming off that last fight where he got knocked out.
Do you think maybe that he's walking around without a full deck?
I think that you're probably right about that, but this is a guy that he thinks he's more important than he is. Adrian Broner is that same type of personality. And Conor McGregor is that exact same type of personality.
Maybe they should match those two guys together.
Yeah.
Like they went McGregor and Mayweather. Maybe that'll be a good fight. Two knuckleheads in there, banging it out. The two guys that are just don't have it. What are they trying to do?
Well,
Fight each other, maybe.
You know, well, McGregor wants to be relevant again. So again, he's, you know, always trying to be in the spotlight, and a lot of times he's in the spotlight for the wrong reasons. Find himself at a bar, getting himself in an argument. And again, these athletes, it's not just McGregor, it's not just boxers, it's all these athletes, we hear about it all the time, that continue to put themselves in a bad situation. And you just gotta be careful, you're held to a higher standard. But, you know, back to what you were saying though about UFC 241 last night, I know you and I are more boxing guys, but that was a very good UFC card, probably one of the better UFC cards last night. And we talked about California, you know, we had boxing in California last night where it really wasn't highly attended. Okay, they were playing where the Chargers play, and it was a very sparse crowd. ESPN had the boxing coverage. But last night in Anaheim, they had over 17,000 people. And you know what? It was the highest grossing MMA card in the state of California. You know what they drew at the gate last night?
What's that?
$3.2 million.
3.2 million.
They had 17,000 fans in Anaheim, and yeah, so it was the highest record gate of MMA in California.
Wow.
So, you know, MMA is still, it's relevant, and I'll just speak for myself. I don't care for it that much, but, you know, as a sports guy, we have to talk about it, but I'm a boxing guy first. And, you know, last night we had a pretty epic, you know, card last night. Miocic defeated Daniel Cormier. It was a 4th round knockout, and in this fight, it was, you know, Cormier was actually winning the fight, and before they stopped it, Cormier was winning on 2 of the judges' scorecards, 29-28. Wow. And then Miocic just took care of business in the 4th and ended up winning by a TKO. And, you know, Cormier, like I said, he's, you know, one of the most successful guys in the UFC. Right. But, you know, here's a couple guys that are, you know, Cormier's 40 years old. He's 22-2. It was a pretty entertaining fight last night, I gotta say.
Yeah, it was good. It's amazing. Now this guy, Nate Diaz,
well, Nate Diaz was back on the card last night as well too. Now, there's a story for you. We, you know, talk about McGregor, but Nate Diaz returned. He defeated Anthony Pettis, and you know, in that situation, Diaz hadn't fought in 3 years, Joe. 3 years. Hasn't been in the octagon in 3 years, and he came in. He won a unanimous decision. Wow. So you know what all the talk is today, right? Diaz and McGregor 3. Everybody wants to see that. So I'm going to ask you, because I got my own opinion, do you want to see Nate Diaz fight Conor McGregor for a 3rd time?
Yeah, I like to see that. I think that'd be interesting because I think that's what the fans want to see. They want to see action, and they always put up a good fight. So I think the fans want to see that.
But here's the thing about Nate Diaz, and this is what I don't understand about MMA. Do you know what Nate Diaz's record is? This guy is 20-11. And the UFC wants to say, oh, he's the most relevant guy right now. Right. He lost 11 times. How do these guys in MMA, and he fought a guy, Anthony Pettis, last night, 9 losses. How can this be a main event or even a co-main event when you get guys, and now they're talking about he is the most, you know, sought after guy in MMA, so we have to get Nate Diaz. We have to promote Nate Diaz. And in this promotion, because he was out of the ring for 3 years, he really wasn't that big of a you know, a promotion. If you look at the poster, he was like in the background. And I don't know if they did that because they were afraid maybe he wasn't going to show up for the fight or something like that, or what. But he did show up and he won. And now all of a sudden, now people are talking about Diaz and McGregor 3. And they've had 2 very good fights. Yeah. And they were big money makers. We understand that. Well, but the guy's got 11 losses. What's McGregor got? 4 losses?
Yeah, but I think the fans will buy that, though. You know, they would definitely buy that. And they would say, you know, this is what they want to see. I mean, if people bought McGregor and Mayweather, you know, they're going to buy.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
Diaz and McGregor for sure.
But I just, you know, it's more name recognition than anything else. Than I think of substance. And I guess that's my point.
So if you put Pacquiao and Mayweather together, would that be a good fight? Because of the names. They're both in their 40s.
Yes, but you know,
I would call it the General Tall boxing event.
Well, see, here's the thing, okay? Now, if you're going to talk about Pacquiao and Mayweather, I want to see Pacquiao fight because Pacquiao is relevant. Floyd Mayweather Jr. is not relevant because he's been away from the ring for too long. And like you said, he's 43, Manny's 40. But what's Manny doing? Manny is fighting at least once a year, sometimes you know twice in a year and a half. He is continuing to fight, and he's a champion again. So we want to see Manny Pacquiao, but do we want to see him fight against Floyd Mayweather? I don't. Here's my thing. I want to see Manny fight. I don't want to see Floyd fight.
Okay.
I don't care who Floyd's fighting. I don't want to see him fight.
If they put that fight together, will you buy it?
I have my credential. I'll be ringside. I don't have to, you and I don't have to pay.
Yeah, we'll be on ringside for sure. Okay.
I got on that one, didn't I?
Yeah, you should have. Okay, the question now, you got here in 92, same year I got here.
Yeah.
And then you took off and then you came back again in 2015, was it?
Right.
Okay, but how do you see, I know when I got here to Vegas, boxing and I think basketball was the only two, sports that was out there.
Yeah.
And a little bit of basketball, UNLV, but now boxing and football, baseball, hockey, the Golden Knights. And now you got the Raiders coming into town.
Yeah.
I mean, what the change? What's the change you've seen? The difference back then to the way it is now. And what are people talking about?
I think there's a couple things, Joe. When you and I got here in 1992, Vegas was the entertainment capital of the world,
right,
because of the shows. It was the boxing capital of the world. Okay, we knew that. And then UNLV basketball was very, very relevant at that point in time because they had championship teams. They went to the Final Four, in the 80s, and they were still very, very good in the 90s, and that was it. But I think that the population has a lot to do with this too, that a lot of people don't talk about. Because you got to remember, when we were here in the 90s, I mean, we didn't even have 1 million people here. I mean, it was a lot less than that.
Right.
And then again, the Strip was the Strip. If you lived on the east side, you lived on the west side. But now it's like everything's expanded now, where the homes are 20 miles past the Strip, and it wasn't that way back in those days. So I think the population has a lot to do with it. Growth has come here, where more and more jobs have come here, and then not only with boxing and basketball, but back in those days, remember, we had like minor league hockey. We had the Las Vegas Thunder and this and that. We had the Canadian Football League, and we had stuff like that. There were kind of niche sports that never really lasted. But I think that when the Golden Knights said, hey, we're going to come here, the NHL is going to come here, and the way they did it, and they got involved with the MGM and all the casino properties to make this more like a show, I think that really resonated with a lot of people. And now that the NHL's had success, then here comes the WNBA with the Aces, the NBA soon to follow, and then Major League Baseball is talking about coming here. Then you got the brand new stadium with the Aviators, so minor league baseball, and then of course now the Raiders coming. So it is just turned very, very quickly. But I think you could slowly but surely see back in those days when we were here that the growth was going to happen. And it's not surprising to me that Las Vegas has all of these, not only just major sports franchises, but the population continues to grow.
It's unbelievable. I mean, there's so many opportunities here too for those folks that are thinking about moving into Las Vegas. If you come in with some skills, some talent in any one of those sports, as a broadcaster, as a camera person, maybe just a fan want to just move out, thinking about retiring, moving out to Las Vegas. I think this is a place to be right now. But we want the good people here. We don't want no bums out here. We want people that want to get something to the community, get involved. And if you're retiring, come on and get in the community and help out with these young kids that need so much guidance, so much help, like we do, like you and I do. We're always out there doing something for the kids in the community. Now, we're talking about our friends out in the United Kingdom. They don't follow much of our sports that we do here, but Dan Hewitt for Boxing TV was just on it. The last show was today, just ended the show a little while ago. For another 2 months, he'll be off Boxing TV. Dan Hewitt, he's asking, who is Muhammad Ali the greatest sports athlete of all times? And I'll tell you one thing, and he's one of them for sure, but there's been so many great athletes in other sports that you guys don't follow in the United Kingdom. And I think that Muhammad Ali, yes, he's recognized worldwide as one of the heroes and one of the most famous athletes, but there's been many other athletes.
Oh, I think, when you're talking about Muhammad Ali, I mean, obviously, one of the greatest, especially at that time, when you're talking about the late 60s and the 70s and even the early 80s, where he sustained, the heavyweight championship. But I think what did it for Muhammad Ali, why people resonate with him, is because of the charisma that he had. And he took a stand, as you know. I mean, with the military, and then he took a stand. And remember, back in those days, a lot of people, they were either they liked him or they didn't like him. And then, it was new the way he talked about himself and all that sort of thing. And some people, they really latched on him and other people didn't. But what you can't take away from Muhammad Ali is just, you know, his fighting style and how aggressive he was and what he did for the heavyweight division. So I think from a boxing standpoint, we have to say that. But there's so many. I mean, you go back, we look at what like Jackie Robinson did, you know, back in those days in the 50s.
For you fans out of the United Kingdom, Jackie Robinson was the first Afro-American to play Major League Baseball.
Yes, and not only that though, Joe, as you know, he was a heck of a baseball player. He was a fantastic baseball player.
I have a photo of him sliding home plate. Tell us a little bit about that epic moment of him sliding home plate. What happened there?
Oh, well, yeah, I think are you talking about one of the World Series
World
games?
Series, yes.
Yeah, he stole home.
He stole home.
He stole home. Yeah, and when basically not many people stole home, and Jackie Robinson just had fantastic speed, and he was just one of a kind. I mean, but he could hit, he could throw, he could field, he had great speed. So you know, so you got Jackie Robinson in baseball, and then you know you got Jim Brown in football. I mean, there are so many guys. You cannot just say who's the greatest of all time in one sport, and we can't even do that with boxing. You know, you can't say that. If you want to go by weights, I think you can do that in boxing, but in sports, you know, you've really been.
Yeah, so many. You got soccer. You got
Pele, and, Michael Jordan in basketball, Wilt Chamberlain,
Willie Mays,
Mays,
Mickey Mantle, Joe DiMaggio, Babe Ruth. You can go on forever.
Yeah.
Some of the greatest athletes of all time, but no more in the United States, more than worldwide. Muhammad Ali just had worldwide recognition. I mean, he was loved by everybody around the world. I mean, yeah, he's one of the favorites. So Dan, to answer your question, Muhammad Ali was on top. I would put him one of the top 5 with all different athletes around the world. Ali's definitely in that group.
Yeah, I agree with you. And what do you think about comparing boxers to football players or basketball players or baseball players? You think it's a fair comparison? Because again, a team sport and individual sport, they're different. So, you know, you can rank them different. You can have different thought process on if a boxer is greater than maybe a baseball player.
Well, you know, you can say that. I mean, look at these car racers. You guys go to the NASCAR racers. I mean, these guys pat themselves out there, really. I mean, they do have a team. You change the tires.
Is that a sport? Is car racing a sport?
NASCAR? I mean, if poker, I mean, I see poker on the back page of the sports. I said, damn, that's not a sport. He's playing cars. How can they put that in the sports section?
I don't know. Do you got to be an athlete to be a race car driver? I mean, you're sitting for about 3 hours.
Yeah.
I'm joking. No problem with some people say, but they do have to be in shape.
It's one of the best sports around the world. Just like
it's one of the most dangerous ones, I'll tell you that.
And being a jockey and a horse racing, that's dangerous too, you know.
Yeah.
That's another sport. I mean, you're not physically, but you got to be in shape. You just can't jump on a horse and race. I mean, you got to be in that kind of condition.
Absolutely.
You know. But
I always thought you'd be a jockey back in the day.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Man, I was 112 pounds. Man, you know what?
You can be 122 and be a jockey.
122.
Yeah.
Hey, how much do the guys weigh?
Those guys weigh about 116. They go anywhere from like 112 to about 122.
Yeah, well, flyweight, bantamweight, yeah.
There's some 95 pounders out there.
Yeah,
straw weight.
Oh my God! I mean, those guys are mini flyweight. This guy,
mini flyweight.
TJ Krill. He's a flyweight. He's a mini flyweight. 105-pound champion of South Africa. He's living here in Las Vegas now.
Yeah.
He just come back from South Africa. Nice kid. IBF mini flyweight champion of the world. Yeah. He brings a lot of talent.
Hey, did you? I know you refereed a lot of those younger. Did you like Humberto Chiquita Gonzalez? Remember, got Michael Carbajal, those small guys.
Yeah, 105 pounders.
Yeah. So what was your take as a referee? Because you like towered over those guys in comparison to going from a heavyweight match to like that.
Well, the little guys, when they were in the clinches, and I had to sometimes break them apart, I could pick them up off the ground. I said, oh, wow, I'm sorry. I put him back down.
It's like the midget wrestling, right?
Oh, man, but I can tell you, man, it's been a lot of fun refereeing those mini flyweight. You talk about Michael Carbajal.
I love those fights, man.
Michael Carbajal was the first fighter at a 105-pound mini flyweight to make $1 million purse.
That's right.
He made history on that.
Yeah.
I mean, he was in the Olympics. I believe he was a silver medalist.
Yes.
He's from Arizona.
Yes.
And not many smaller U.S. fighters in the lighter division, like 105 pounds, 118. Even though Mark Too Sharp Johnson was a flyweight and bantamweight champion, the first Afro-American to win championship at that weight class. I mean, most of the smaller fighters come out from either the Orient or South America.
True.
You know. Yeah. Now, so what was coming up with your sports? Are you doing any officiating this week? Any commentating?
Yeah, because you're the official. Remember that,
Yeah,
okay? Remember that, okay?
You're commentating.
Yeah. You're fair, but I'm firm.
I'm fair, but I'm firm.
Okay.
Sometimes people say I'm fair, but they say I'm not firm anymore. I don't get it.
No, I think you're firm. I think you have too much personality. That's why they don't think you're firm, because you're always smiling. Look at his smile, folks. That's Joe Cortez, the same smile that you saw, 30 years ago in the ring.
And I just smile in the ring. More in the ring, I was bugged.
Yeah, you were.
Come on, touch him up, guys.
Still, yeah.
Keep a clean fight.
And I see you
Keep him up.
I see you get mad sometimes in the ring too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
I see
mad.
that.
Not mad.
Not mad, but you're stern.
I was taking control. I was fair,
Yeah.
but I was firm.
That's right.
Taking control because
I thought that was my initials, taking control.
I said TC. That's why they call him TC Martin. Taking control, man. That's a man.
Yeah. So we got.
And what does TC? Tell a friend what does TC stand for anyway.
Oh man, that's a long story.
Tito Camacho.
No, see, people know. The true story, you really want to hear the true story? The true story, it has nothing to do with like Thomas Charles or anything like that. It actually stands for too cold.
Too cold.
Because I was too cold to be told back in the day. When I was high school, I was the cool white kid, man. I was hanging out with the brothers. It was cool. And I was walking around and they said, "Oh, look at me. He's too cool. He's too cool." And I just stopped them. I said, "No, I'm not too cool. I'm too cold, because colder is cooler than cool."
Okay.
Next thing you know, I started DJing and everything. I say, "Oh, too cold. Hey, what's up, too cold? TC, there it is. It stuck, Joe. I couldn't get rid of it."
TC, I like
there
that.
It is. True story. That is a true story. And those people back at Folsom High School back in the day, they're going to say, "Yep, that's true."
That's right. A man took control.
But I like where you're going with it. Take charge, total control.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah. Okay, so what's coming up with the next games that was going on?
We got the Las Vegas Aces. Matter of fact, they got a game this afternoon in Chicago. And it's playoff time. Asia Wilson is coming back for the Aces, the Rookie of the Year, the All-Star. She's missed the last 9 games because of an ankle injury.
Wow.
So she's coming back. The Aces are in first place. They've only got 2 home games left. So people here in Las Vegas, you got Tuesday night against the Phoenix Mercury. Brittany Griner's going to be a huge game Tuesday night. And then a week from Saturday will be their final regular season game. And then it's playoffs. You better be coming out to the playoffs.
I got to, man.
You got to support, because this could be the WNBA championship team.
Wow.
Could be.
Well, I'm getting my credentials for that.
There you go.
I'm going to be sure I get my little booth on the side there.
That's it.
And not call the game, but I'll be checking you out.
You
close.
check me out. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And I'll bring you on. You can be my halftime guest.
Yeah, right. That'd be great.
Yeah,
that'd be an honor.
Because I know you love basketball.
I love basketball. You look on the YouTube channel, you fans out there, go on and check out Joe Cortez basketball, and you see my shots behind the back, behind 32 feet. You see I got 13 shots in there, and it's not all back to back. 11 and 12 is back to back. But look at my shots. Go on the YouTube channel, Joe Cortez basketball. You'll be surprised of all my hidden talents in basketball.
I think we're going to have maybe have a horse contest, you and I.
Horse?
Horse. I'm the king of horse. I got the trick shots galore. So if you want to match some shots, maybe we'll do that.
Well, I thought we could do a nice celebrity fundraiser and
whatever it takes.
I'll tell you, man, I throw some shots behind the back.
Oh.
You fans out there, when you check that out, you're gonna say, "That's not Joe. You kind of did some trick stuff." No, they're for real. Well, look at a shot 11 and 12 is definitely back to back, 32 feet away.
32 feet away.
That's right.
All right, Joe. I'm checking this out.
Yeah.
Joe and I on the basketball court soon. That's it. Our girl Dylan, she's gonna put it all together. I'm going behind the back, through the leg, boom.
Man, out there, I just grab like this. I mean, I'm better off like this than trying to throw it the right way.
Okay. Joe Cortez, king of the granny shot.
There you go. Check him out. You're gonna say, "Oh my God, I got 13 shots in a 40-minute period." Yes, I edited the shots in between, but I got 13 of them in a 40-minute period, and I put it out there. It's an honest truth. You see two of my grandsons out there, one of them doing the measuring 32 feet away, and the little guy, Bryce, when he was younger, he was picking up throw the basketball back to me. So much fun. I love playing with the kids, and I just messed with my grandson, and they were just so that I started playing from behind the back, almost got it in, and before you know it, it really worked. Anyway, TC, Martin.
Yes.
Half hour went by quick on this show. We had a lot of fun. You fans out there, we hope to catch you next Sunday. and we'll be talking about a lot of things that TC Bond.
We're talking about some college football next week.
Next week, yeah,
So
definitely,
hang
for
tight
sure.
for that.
We had a little fun talking about college football and basketball and you name it.
You got it, brother.
Anything else for any adult contents you want to talk about?
No, I think I'm good.
You're good, so am I. We'll catch you next week.
He's fair, but he's firm.
Take care. God bless.